Today, we are taking a look at The Jones Change by Dan and Dave Buck. Originally released through the DVD series called Trilogy, this move was taught with an error. A mistake was made as they explained the move. After the fact, they released the move for free. But before we get started, 2 weeks from now, I'll be at FISM giving 2 lectures in Quebec City. And the schedule has been released. A link will be in the description below. The other fun fact with this video is I will be using a very rare Dan and Dave deck of playing cards, and it looks like that. Take a look. It's even signed. And if you want to win this, well, follow me on Instagram and DM me your performance of this move, and I'll pick a random winner within the week. Okay, I'm excited to unbox this. I never thought I would. But it's time to open these up, and after I'm done with the video, I'll get to mail this to one of you. Okay, grab your deck of cards and let's get started. I can break down this move in 3 parts. One of them is going to be the flourish, the color change, and the cleanup. And if you stick around to the second part of this video, I will show you a simplified way, my variation of performing the Jones Change. Let's start with the get ready. The get ready or prerequisite to this move is to be able to perform a pushover double or any other type of get ready for a double lift. All right, I have a video on this. I will link it in the description below, or you can check out the card. Essentially, from this position, you will be picking the cards, the double, and I do recommend to use 2 really contrasting cards here. You're picking up the double at the pips, which is essentially your bottom left with the thumb, and the middle is going to go on the top right. And that is a very important twirly position. We've seen it before. You've done this before if you've been on my channel. This shouldn't be too complicated. From this position, you're going to twirl out the card in this way. The index is going to pull up, up, and extend. Your hand starts from palm down to palm up. From here to here with a twirl. You cannot get easier than this. You're here, boom. And if you want it, that could be the flourish. That, and then reverse the move back onto the deck could be the flourish that you do without performing this color change, and it's quite nice. The way that I like to use this start of the move for a flourish is including the pivot and back on the deck like this. Let me do it one more time for those who would like to try it. So I extend, I reverse here, and I do the pivot parallel to the ground, and then I clip and I reverse. It's super difficult to do in slow motion, so maybe I show you a few more times so you can see how it goes on top. That is a super addictive flourish. I recommend you give it a try. More of an advanced application of this move. But back to the very basic one, you have your double lift. You're ready to go here. You're extending that card. After you've extended that card, you need to reverse the move. Reverse the move means you're curling your index finger, and you have the index finger now on this side to support on the long left side of the card. And then you have the support of your palm right here as well. And you're able to come to a clip position here and join. So 3 of your fingers are now clipping at this part so that you could have a movement. And let's do it with 1 card. You could have a movement where you pivot that card. And that's still, I consider, part of the flourishy part. All right, so you're here and you use that pivot motion and have it go all the way to pivot. Just like that. Super easy to do. Practice with 1 card. In fact, you can practice that whole first sequence with 1 card. You go here, you clip, Change your finger position, clip here. Allow for the middle finger to initiate the pivot, drop. Gravity helps you here. So now you're lightly holding this card here, and all you'll have to do is practice putting that card in Tenkai for the actual color change, which is part 2. Let's go from the top because it is important that we get this right. So you have the card that you're starting with on the bottom. You reversed, you are right here. You drop. Now you're dropping 2 cards. This is where you don't have to worry about this split because it will happen, especially if you're working with a brand new deck of cards like I am right now. It's going to split more often than not. Okay? I recommend using a really well broken deck of cards so that you have a bit of less split. But after you finish extending, pivot back, you are going to feed. You are feeding these cards into Tenkai palm. And for me, at this point, it's even easier to do it with 2 cards than with 1. Because again, with 1, I'm here and I'm just squishing the card and using these 3 fingers and my thumb to put it in that Tenkai position, which a reminder is a card that completely disappears and it is parallel to the ground. All right, this is Tenkai. Look at how my fingers are holding the card, the thumb on the pip corner and the palm has the non-pip corner. That's how you're holding the card. You are once again feeding the card into that position by squishing and placing that card in. Time to put everything together with 2 cards. You've done the extension, you're back here. You are squishing both cards into position. And after you are in this position, you're not going to go into the Tenkai. You're going to keep your hand, your fist closed because your middle will, or middle and the other fingers will extend. There will be some friction here. You will push that card up. So in fact, your middle is riding against your thumb here. You're stripping out that bottom card and continuing that motion and extending. And as soon as you've cleared the thumb goes behind and you're able to show that card. All right, and now that card is hiding this one. Now I'm not in the right angle, that is the right angle, but I just wanted to show you the movement of how things get extended. And then you're able to go into the cleanup where we'll get to that shortly. Okay, you're here. You are stripping that card. As soon as the thumb clears, it's going to push against the card and you're displaying the card. Try to be as perpendicular as you can to the other card. Slightly towards this side, because if you remember Tenkai hides the card here. Do not go here, do not go up, do not go down. Really perform this at eye level. Here I'm at camera eye level on one angle. Let's take a look at a different angle. If I go to the side here, you'll get a chance to see exactly what's going on. So I'm doing the pivot, I'm back here, and I'm squishing that card in. And as I squish that card in, look at how my middle interacts with my thumb. I extend. As soon as I clear the thumb, I'm going to show that card. And then you're ready for the cleanup. This is actually a perfect angle to show you the cleanup first, and then we can go back to the other angles. You're going to do your pushover double. You're going to do the move, extend. The cleanup is going to be releasing the card. So it's riding on your thumb here. You're extending it slightly. You need to put the card on the bottom of this one. So as you clear the thumb, you're going to go underneath. So it doesn't have to be a big movement here. Okay, you don't have to go all the way here and then back. It could be a very tiny movement. And then on the back, see how my middle is once again rubbing sort of against the thumb to figure out is my thumb clipping and squaring the two cards, because that will be important as both cards end up square, or for the most part square, on top of the deck. You're here. You show the card square. See how it's not perfect square, but that's fine because you're going to do this fairly quickly. So if you do this fairly quickly, the cleanup, don't do everything else quickly because they need to register the card change. But as you're here, that placement on the deck can happen very quickly and they will not see that it's a double. You're here, boom, slightly goes back, you square, and you can see my my edges are not perfectly square, but that's why the white border exists, and that's okay. The simplified version starts the same way. You have your double, but you're going to use your thumb, since you're in this position, to get to the pivot point right away, thus simplifying the flourish. Now notice how that card split a little bit. Just like that. And here, I'm in a much safer position because all I have to do is the pivot and I'm really out of the woods when it comes to performing the move. Everything else is exactly the same. The only thing that changes is going to be how you're tackling the pivot. And once again, as you lift the double, you're going to press down with the thumb and everything is going to be fed right away into this position, which is what you want for the pivots. And that's the same way to close. Let me show you from a different angle. Your thumb. And everything else is fairly the same. Thumb presses down and you're right in that position. Pinch, drop, squish and tenkai, and you perform everything else the exact same way. Side by side, you have something like this. A lot flashier, and then the simplified version. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you learned something from this one, or relearned it if you've learned it before. It's a neat move, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. In the meantime, I need to be very careful with this deck of cards because it's going to one of you.